Hey, Everyday Athlete Podcast Network listeners. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Fireside Chat. This is one of 7 shows on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network, and I'm glad that you're here today to listen to the conversation between John Hudson and myself. John recently completed a 50K, and we want to talk about training for that 50K, but then also recovery, burnout, and everything in between. Before I bring John on, please do me a favor and be sure to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast network wherever you get your podcasts. And I'm asking you for 5 stars. And if you're inclined to give us anything less than 5 stars, please email me first, jason@runtrimag.com, because I want to make sure that we're giving you everything that you want so that we can earn those 5 stars. I really appreciate it. So without any more hesitancy and searching for words that I probably don't need to search for, let's bring John on and let's have some fun. My friend, how are you?
What's up, Jason? How are you?
I'm doing great. It feels like it's been a year, maybe longer, since you were on the Fiery Ember show.
Probably, yeah. It was probably about this time last year, I would think.
So we need to make this an
maybe
annual
longer.
thing.
Yeah, let's do or biannual, whatever. It's depends. I'm not that interesting and stuff to say, but who we'll find out.
No, the biannual part is when we meet each other in person, like we did when.
That's right.
Chicago
So we did have that in August. That was awesome.
That was so cool, dude. And I got to tell you, so when I was sending you a text message to let you know I was going to be a few minutes late today, the last message we exchanged were the pictures you took from that day. And it was awesome to see. I was like, oh my goodness, look at those pictures.
Oh man. Yeah, that was great. The weather was perfect. You all got to see the lakefront and see Chicago shine. So that was a lot of fun.
It was really, really cool. So, hey man, I in the intro, I mentioned that you just finished a 50K. And kudos to you. Congratulations. I believe that's your first ultra, because if I'm not mistaken, I think the first time we chatted over a year plus ago, you had just gotten into doing a trail run at that time, correct?
Yeah, and that was actually a 50K as well.
Oh,
so this was my second ultra, I guess. And a first one for a friend of mine who ran. So
cool.
It was the first ultra I did. My brother surprised me and showed up. He's done tons of races and he got me through it. So it was fun to kind of play that role a little bit by hiding my pain and anguish and telling him he can make it while also internally suffering inside. But no, it was good. It was a beautiful day. Perfect conditions. Got a little warm, but I can't complain about 65 degrees. It was like 45 at the start. So not a lot of vert. So it was, I think overall, if I looked at the stats, it was like 980 feet. And I was like, yes, this is for me. But it was a great time.
Did you train with your friend leading up to
the event? So 3 of us ran together, and the one person, she and I ran that 50K before, and she's done a couple of 50Ks and a 50 miler. But my other friend, he's a marathoner. I mean, and has been running marathons since the late 90s, like before marathoning was cool. And I think he kind of either got the peer pressure or the bug in running for us and convinced when I told him it's just 5 more miles, you can do that. And so we all trained together. There was a group of us, about 4 or 5 of us that are in various stages. And our one good friend was at the same weekend, ran a 24-hour race and knocked out 108 miles over that 24 hours. So he had no choice, I think, to be to go with us. But yeah, this is a group that we run together 4, 5, 6 times a week.
That's amazing. Very cool.
So yeah, the 3 of us spent, because it wasn't there was a half marathon, a marathon, a 50K, and a 50 miler. So I think in the 50K, there were under 100 people. So there are stretches on this trail where it was just the 3 of us. And we all just through various stages were like, if we were doing the solo, I wouldn't have gotten through.
So wait a minute.
Good to be able.
You ran all 50K together?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, no
yeah.
shit.
It was a blast. Yeah. So I ventured into I guess it's the old Galloway method.
Yeah.
Had tinkered with it, and we trained, have this little device called a Gym Boss. Looks like a pager, and you can set it and it'll beep. So we did 4-minute run, 1-minute walk.
Okay.
And one friend, she wore the Gym Boss, and you would just hear the beep, you'd take off, and then it'd beep again, you walk. And it was, at first not skeptical, because I know people have knocked it out, set records doing the sort of that method, but it was tough to get used to.
Really?
At first it would, because we did a couple of our long runs, we were like, let's try this out. And especially just 4 minutes in, you're like, I feel great. Why the hell am I walking?
Yes.
And then you get to, mile 18, and you're like, oh, when's that fucking thing gonna beep? Because I'm ready to walk. And then that minute, and that's another thing too, that minute flies,
it's so short, dude.
Regardless of where, and you're just like, oh my God, double beep, now we got to run again. But it is really, in these past few days, I think from a recovery, not really affected our pace. I mean, we camped out at some aid stations. These aid stations were epic. So we, if you look at our splits, we were really consistent until, you'd have like 11:40, 11:40, 11:40, 15:40,
Dude, that's the whole
17.
point of the ultra is to make sure you have enough fuel, enough liquid to process everything, so that you can keep going on. And one of the things that you just reminded me of is we have a hill. It's a canyon, so it's a climb here right outside our front door. That is, it's a mile up. And it gains about 370, 400 feet. And I ran it with a friend one day, and he said to me, he's like, are you okay with 5.2? And I was like, sure, let's go. And I think he thought I could just run 400 vertical, feet straight up over a mile. And I was like, I'm definitely going to need to walk at some point.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we did 5.2, and we got to the top of that canyon faster than I ever have before, even with the 2-minute walks. And it's because, you're recovering, you're not stressing your limbs out and your muscles out too much. And so that method, especially at ultras, especially in tough climbing, is absolutely worth it.
Yeah. Is that didn't you do a little unofficial climb of that same canyon? I think it was after when you visited Chicago, you were talking about getting some people together to do that.
And that was the day we did it.
Some type of was that the day? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I did it with him. And then like a week or two later, I did it by myself. And I was like, I'm just going to do it the way he said to do it, the way he wanted to do it. And I loved it. And I've done it a bunch of different ways, John. So I've done it where I will run up 2 minutes and then walk down a minute and then run up 2 minutes and walk down a minute. So kind of like hill repeats. And I will tell you, like when you get closer to the top and it's steeper, that 1 minute walk is a lot less of a distance than the first 1 minute walk when you're at the base.
Yeah. I mean, that's a legit 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right? I mean, where you get to that almost to the top, you're like, shit, now I got to go down a minute. I'm almost to the top.
And then other ways I've done it too is I've run for 2 minutes I ran for as long as I could. And then I would stop and not move as my recovery, and then run for as long as I could and then stop for my recovery. Yeah. And it's just, different methods to figure things out, but absolutely the 5.2 worked the fastest.
And we tinkered with, like, one weekend we did 5-1, and then we did 4-1, and we settled on 4-1 because the one day we did the 5-1, we all felt like shit. It was hot, and I was like, it had nothing to do with the conditions. It was the 5-1. So we're going back to the 4-1, and for no rhyme or reason, but other than we all felt like crap that day, and so we blamed it on the 5-1. So no disrespect to any 5-1 people out there, but
I gotta tell you, I love it.
It had nothing to do with my fitness.
I love it because it's really good for people to hear others who are doing these types of things, because we often, not often, almost everybody and almost always falls into the comparison trap. Oh, John ran a 50K. And instead of thinking he did 4-1, 5-1, whatever, we just think John ran a 50K, right? And we start asking ourselves, why can't I run a 50K? And the reality is there is walking involved in the vast majority of this stuff.
I mean, the first one I did was a lot more, a lot more elevation, and we walked every hill. And, that was my first one, and actually ran faster at that first one than this one, but there were different circumstances. It was different. When you run your first, like the last 2 miles, I was feeling good, and I took off a little bit, but I've also, my good friend I mentioned that ran that 24-hour race. He used the 4-1 method, ran a 100-miler in 18 hours, like killed it. So it's not like people, I think, here, and it's this, again, you talked about it, the judgment or the gatekeeping about you're not a runner if you walk. I'm like, there are people using this method that are going faster than those that run the whole time. I mean, and there is Jeff Galloway didn't make millions of around this method of, and then just the recovery has been, I told myself, because we may get into it, we would talk a little bit about burnout, that I am not going to run, 7-10 day, whatever I put in. I probably run fat, but I've been walking every day, and I guess this is what, day 4. I feel fantastic. Like, okay, I want to run tomorrow, but I said to myself, I committed to not gotten back into it, but I attribute a lot of that to one. It's a fitness. We were ready for this race. But I also attribute a lot of that to the fueling, to the minus the shot of fireball we had at the halfway at the turn. But I think that I attribute it to that, following that method, and it does not affect your pace. It really, in some, it keeps you, and having that method, we looked at our splits of how consistent they were.
Yes.
And I think just having that 4-minute, 1 minute consistency, it kept you on your pace.
And the mental side of, I know I can run for 4 minutes, right? I know I can run for 4 minutes, right?
Yes.
Wherever you
88 times or whatever it was. I think we looked at how many.
But that you can do it. That mental strength that comes from that is huge, especially as you get to the end of the runs and the end of the races. One of the things you talked about with the walking concept that made me think immediately was the Olympian marathon walkers, right? They are walking at marathon paces that are, what some people run it in, right?
Oh, yeah. We had a moment on the trail where I think I was goofing off a little bit in the walk and kind of did the marathon, the Prancer size marathon thing, and I was like, I can't keep this pace. I mean, this I don't see how they do it.
Imagine telling that person who's walking the marathon at the Olympics that they're not an athlete, or they're not I get it, they're not running.
I don't even know what the times are, but they're probably doing it in like 3 hours.
Super fast. They are super fast. And I've said this always about the walkers in those events, like the ability to restrain yourself to not just start running has to be unbelievable.
Because what is it? You're officially, because when you run at one point, both feet are off the ground. It's like walking, you have to have 8 foot on the ground. Is that the official? That would drive me nuts.
Because here's the other part. Like in training, I have to imagine that they're doing some running to improve their cardiovascular system, right? So
a few years ago, my dad was kind of getting in shape, and he and my mom had walked half marathons in their 60s. There's the Indy mini marathon in Indianapolis, and they hadn't walked a lot for years and was getting back into shape. And he asked all of us, I have 2 older brothers and a sister. He goes, "Hey, I'm kind of in shape. Will you all come down and we'll walk the mini marathon?" And I'm sitting there, I was like, "Sure, yeah, no problem, Dad." Walk this thing. My dad takes off on like a 15-minute clip walking from me, and I'm like, holy shit, Dad. And the urge for me to want to start jogging or running because it hurt. I'm like, and here's this 84-year-old man, and I'm me and my brothers. I'm like, dude, somebody's got to slow him down.
Yep.
But I was sitting there going, I need to run, and they're also, when you walk for 3 hours, you hit the porta potty a lot more. I mean, so I was like, I'd see the porta potty. I was like, oh, I'm going to run to catch up. And it's like, oh, this feels so good. But that walking pace is brutal. And, we walked the whole thing in like, I don't know, a little over 3 hours, but it was a good clip. And
yes.
Yeah. So I did, and we talk about this. I see you put some stuff out, just the gatekeeping and around,
pisses me off.
Whether it's walking or running. I was like, God damn, people are out there just moving, and we should applaud that. And it's just, I don't care if you walk 5 minutes a day or you're running 5 hours a day. It's like, that's what we should be applauding. And it just drives me nuts to, oh, well, you walked I'm sitting there on my Strava. I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I walked. And, I did it with my dad, who's 80 at the time, 83 or 84. I was like, see you do this, chump. So, but yeah, it just, a lot of this stuff with these, performative.
I'm going to give you an example of the performative bullshit in a second, but shout out to our Everyday Athlete Clubhouse members, Joe and Ryan, for being on Instagram Live. Thanks for joining us, guys. Here's the thing. If I said to you, what is a number of in terms of hours to finish a 100 miler, that is sort of the line of demarcation where people are like, holy shit, that's impressive. Yeah. What's that number in your mind?
Oh my God. For me,
no, just in general, for example, there's the
30, 35. I'm trying to think now what,
we hold a rule of thumb. Like if you run a 4-hour marathon, like that's sort of like what people try as a goal, right?
Yeah.
So in the 100 miler, the 24-hour mark is typically the number, right? At Western States, if you finish 23:59:59, you get a silver buckle. If you finish in 24:01, you get this bronze one, right? So so 24 hours is sort of the line of demarcation. So if you were to walk 50 miles at an 18-minute pace and run 50 miles at a 13-minute pace, give or take 13-minute pace, you will finish in 24 hours, right? So, and it would be the thing where people would be like, holy shit, you did it in under 24 hours, right? But I walked half of it. So stop gatekeeping the fucking sport, man.
It's 100 miles. Right. I don't, and unless you're getting paid for it, most people don't run. At least I don't think. I mean, maybe some of the people that knock it out in 12 hours run the whole time, but it's just impossible. And it just drives me nuts because it's like a shame that, that we forget. I remember kind of what got me into running. I used to be, we're everyday athletes, but I used to be in shape a long time ago, and I could run on the basketball court forever. And then I got out of it for like 15 years. And I was running late to catch the train. And I probably jogged for 400 meters.
Yeah.
I was sore for 4 days.
Yeah.
4 days. I could not walk. My quads were burning. And I go, wait a second. Here I am, 37 years old. I go, I can't run. So that when I first started, and I just would run for 10 minutes. And I thought I was king of the world, and I was like, this is great. And I was sore, but then I ran for 15 minutes. And I think we all forget where we started. Yeah. And I would have never, that was pre-Strava and pre-social media. I mean, I would have probably seeing all the talk out there now, would have been either embarrassed. I would have run at night. I would have, just because my mind and ego was broken there, but it frustrates me.
But that's the thing. If we create a more welcoming space, look, I don't mean to get into economics about this, but here's how my brain works. If the population is 10 people and I want to make $1,000, I have to charge each person $100, right? Simple math. And so if you have some person out there telling a person who runs a 15-minute mile that they're not a runner, they never go from 10 to 11. They never get involved, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But if we said, come on in, come hang out, that 10 becomes 20, and I need to make $1,000. So now maybe I'm charging $50 or $60 instead of 100, right? Like simple math. Like people are like, this sport is so expensive, and it is. But if we keep telling people, don't fucking come hang out with us, the population doesn't increase.
It's and I did some experiment. You talk about the cost standpoint. I love shoes. I 300 miles. Okay, I'm getting new one. 240. Oh yeah, I need new shoes. I need new shoes because somebody told me that. Well, this summer I had a little experiment. I was not working this summer, so I decided as part of my cutback, I was like, wait a second, I still want new shoes. So I took a pair of shoes that I had that I would normally turn in at 300 miles. I ran 600 miles in them, and oh my gosh, they lasted. And then I went to an old model on sale that I had run with years ago that were half the cost, and I'm just fine. I mean, it's like you can do. I wouldn't skimp too much on stuff, but I mean, half my clothing is Amazon or on sale, 3 years old. I've run in a cotton shirt one time. Yeah.
I want to ask you a question. When you showed up to run with the buddies that you were training with for this 50K, how many times did they say, oh, dude, that's an item you bought on sale, you cheap fuck?
They know me, so they know that I never paid full price.
Let me ask it a different way then. How many times when you posted your picture on social media did somebody comment, dude, that's a cheap ass shirt. Why'd you spend $6 on it?
Never.
Right.
Never. And it's, I mean, the shoes, hey, you got new shoes, but they're never like, hey, are those this model or the old model? Or, I mean, they all know I got them on clearance, but it was, but that's what I want to try and share to, like, especially wintertime coming up. I get all my winter gear from Ace Hardware. I get gloves. I buy, I'll buy like a pair of $7 gloves, and I'll buy a hat from there. I've gotten a winter jacket or whatever that is not a name brand. Yes, I have as I'm wearing an Under Armour. I have an old Nike one that I got 10 or 15 years ago that I still use. Now I get the urge and I get like, oh, I want that, but I don't need it. And you don't need a lot of that. And it's just, so my brother who ran the 50K with he's knocked out 100-milers. He does this for a living. He trains people. He shows up at this 50K, Timex Ironman. He has like, the Asics, whatever. He's got like, looked like soccer pants. Two Arby's roast beefs for his fuel. And we're sitting here and I've got my Garmin or whatever, and I'm looking at paces. He starts ripping off splits in his head. Yeah, we're at this. I go, and I'm sitting there going, how are you're not allowed to run a 50K with a Timex Ironman. That's not official. He doesn't have Strava. He doesn't have any of this stuff. And he just goes out and runs. And I was like, that guy's enjoying life. Yep. And
nobody would call him not a runner,
you don't.
Right?
Oh my God, no! But we got this ecosystem or this consumerism, or I know everybody likes to hit on social media and stuff, but it really does keep people from doing it. And I'm guilty. I post my damn run on Instagram and I'm proud of it, but I'm like, and all my friends that don't run, I love the memes like, boy, you must be a really good runner, a healthy runner. Like, well, you should see my pace. You should see what I eat. But I always just encourage people. It's like, well, let's go for a walk or come out with me or, oh, you're too fast. I was like, I can run as slow as you want.
That's the thing. I was the head of a run club when I lived in Dallas, Texas, and it was a trail running club, and we'd get out on the dirt, and the three leaders, and I was one of them. Every run, we would rotate. So we'd have somebody who was always in the front leading, somebody in the middle making sure people were there, and then somebody was always in the back. And we would rotate so that we could get our runs in and stuff like that. And there were like first timers almost every single weekend we were doing this, and they would say things like, "Oh, you're going to run with me?" And it was like, "Well, yeah, I am." Like, and when you need to walk, we'll walk, like whatever you need. Because we want to I've always wanted to get people into these sports, from running to triathlon, swimming and cycling, because the stories that come out of them and the connections that get made are second to none. Like they're second to none. And I think about this, right? I get to meet you. I go to Chicago. We hang out with Joe. We hang out with Derek. We hang out with Dan. We hang out with Mike. Right. And then today or yesterday, I interviewed Mike Knapp for our Party of Five. Joe and I do What's in Your Earbuds, and he has Beyond the Finish Line. Derek texts me and sends me dad jokes constantly every day, right? Like, if we don't open our...
Well, Derek was just with Joe on his run this weekend.
The Heartland, right. And I saw Dan was actually at the race that you ran. I think Dan ran that.
He was. So I'm bummed because they started the 50 and 50K at 7 a.m. and then the half and the full at like 8. So
out there.
Dan was done and dusted before I could even see him, and I was bummed about that. But yeah, I mean,
but that doesn't happen. We don't get to hang out with each other if we're not welcoming to each other.
Yeah. I've met so many people. I mean, just what you're building here. It's funny now to sit there and say, "Oh, I've met this guy online." I was like, if you'd have said that 15 years ago, it would have been something different. But I mean, even that thing at Chicago, to get to meet Derek and Joe, and I was kind of laughing. I go, "Wait, you're so-and-so. That's your hand." I go, "Hold on."
Cool, right?
And now like cracking up at Derek and shooting him some memes, and even Santino, and getting to know all of you all just through this has been, and we have something in common. And
like just this past weekend, I was with Santino, his wife Heather, and Heidi Baker, Strong Mama Miles.
Saw that.
We got to hang out for a weekend, which was damn cool. And then we were in New York City after we left, or before we went to Chicago, and we got to hang out with Thomas Smoot and Michael Bridges and Mary at Roddy to the Core and Maureen Morrissey and her husband. Like, just like an eclectic group of people who have a common love for running and wanting to have fun. Like, I mean, come on. And coffee.
I mean, coffee, whatever is, and that's what kind of our group's been doing. Once or twice a week, we'll meet at the coffee shop and do a run from there. Cool. Just usually our light day or on a rest day, we'll go and grab coffee and walk, and then just sit there, for another 30 minutes and shoot the breeze. And it's just, it just makes it so much better.
What's the coffee order after the run?
Oh, I'm just a straight dark roast, no room, nothing in it. Although in the summertime, I posted a couple times, if I go to Starbucks, I'll hit the cold brew, but I put that chocolate foam on top, and holy cow, that just, I mean, when that stuff drizzles down, it's pure chocolate, and I get the big ass venti, and it's hot. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. Got the milk mustache.
Lori loves the foam. She loves the foam.
I know at first I was like, what? I don't like a lot of like a sweet coffee. I mean, I like it bitter. The bitter, the better. But there's something about hot bitter coffee and cold bitter coffee was different for me. It was just cold coffee. So I was like, well, let me sprinkle a little bit of this chocolate foam on it. And I got hooked. I was like, oh, man.
I tell you what, dude.
And I guess it's worth the extra $8 or whatever they charge for it. But it was when it's 70, 80 degrees and it just hits the spot. So I haven't done any of the other foams, any of the other, either vanilla or
vanilla
I don't know what they call
is Lori's go-to, and she's actually joined us on Instagram Live, and she said, if you disturb my foam consumption, we will have words.
Oh, I'm not. No, I like it. But I'm typically just Just a hot dark coffee.
I'm impressed. By the way, I'm impressed with that you drink cold brew. I had Matthew Clover on our 30 Cubed podcast that's on the Clubhouse page, and he's a barista by trade. He worked at a coffee shop, and so we started talking about cold brew, and I was like, dude, I can't drink that stuff because I can drink hot coffee, no problem. I can drink iced coffee, no problem. But cold brew is like an energy shock. Like I'm like jittery. And he asked me if I had ever had nitro, and I was like, I had one sip of nitro, and I could immediately feel that jolt, and I was like, I am not drinking the rest of this.
I don't like to be over caffeinated. And I had a bad experience with caffeine running, like in my early stages of, I'd run like my first or second half marathon, and I broke the golden rule. Don't try something new. Well, I was doing the goo gels, and this is why I don't do the gels anymore. I was using that rock. They have this thing called Roctane. Or this was 2010. And so I go to the expo. I was like, crap, I got to get some gels. And I see, oh yeah, here, there's a Roctane, but it said ×2. I go, oh, I'll be fine. So I had a cup of coffee before the race. I get going. I'm nailing it. I go, okay, here we go. It's time for the gel. I take that thing. Jason, I'm not kidding you. A minute after taking it, the heart rate takes off. And then because I'm inexperienced, my heart is going nuts. I go, I'm going to be that guy. My heart is going to explode. I'm going to have the heart, EMTs. And for the last 6 miles, it was awful. I had to stop. I was trying to chug water, thinking I could flush it out of my system. And for the next 5 or 6 hours after that race, I felt like absolute dog shit. And it didn't hit me. It's like a couple years later, I'm reading the Runner's World magazine. They were talking about being over caffeinated. And I had equivalent of like caffeine because they described all the symptoms. Like from that point on, it took me probably 8 or 9 years to add caffeine back into my running routine. And then as you got older, like I would have a cup or two of coffee. Like I used to have that coffee or tea at 2 in the afternoon. There was one night I'm sitting there at 1 o'clock in the morning, just staring at the ceiling. I go, what the hell is this? So I can't really, I don't like that feeling anymore. And I think I attribute it to that. I just don't like a heart rate. And then of course it just triggers every anxiety and everything else you have.
So what you're telling me is I can cross you off of our coffee gift box set that we put out.
I'll take, I love coffee. It's just don't give it to me until afternoon.
Yeah. Wait, so for those of you who are
I'll have that last sip.
No. And it's interesting because I can drink coffee almost all day, every day, but cold brew and nitro, I'm out on. Like I just can't do that stuff.
I can have a Coke at 8 o'clock at night and be asleep at 9. It's weird, but coffee and I love it. I drink coffee every day, but I kind of know my limit of that. But I'll take the coffee.
Yeah, the gift box.
Is this a good plug for that gift box?
Yeah, it's a great plug for the gift box. We just put it out for those of you who are listening. It's going to be available till November 13th. It has 5 or 6 goo products, gels, a waffle. We also have the 7 Summit Snacks coffee bar in there too. And we're going to include a package of coffee from Native Grounds Coffee, which is an indigenous coffee company, indigenous people coffee company. And 20% of the gift box cost is going to help fundraise for Rising Hearts and Jordan Daniel and the crew there.
Love it.
Totally adore them. We're actually sponsoring a runner to go to the Every Woman's Marathon in Scottsdale in November through Rising Hearts. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great. You just reminded me. I got to go hit that link after this and get my coffee.
Everybody who's got the newsletter today, hit that link, smash that button.
Yes, smash that like button. That's right.
I do want to talk about burnout because it was something that we talked about before we got on the show, and it's interesting that this conversation is happening because I had it earlier today on the Enduring Minds podcast that we recorded. And maybe it's just because we're in fall racing season and we're people have gone through 4, 5, 6 months of training to get to this point. But I think it's an important topic and people need to know about and be prepared for leading up to the event, the post-race blues, which is a big, something to be prepared for. And so you mentioned it, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. So what are you feeling like? What is, if I said to you, are you feeling burnt out? What would that mean to you today?
For me, I think it's been a culmination physically and mentally of, if I take stock probably in the past year of my life here, some events that have happened. Lost my mom in December. Lost my, look, people may laugh about this, but dog owners won't. Lost my dog in February. Starting to sound like a country song. I lost my job. And it lost my job in June. And it, for me, and especially around the job part, and my one constant and one consistency was running. Kind of kept me grounded, so to speak. But I realized more career-wise, by being afforded to have this break and this time off, I realized, holy crap, I was burnt out. And you don't know it until you're in it, or you don't know it when you're in it. It takes a break, and a vacation doesn't solve it, because I had a vacation in that time. But what it started to leak over into was my running part too, of, I picked up a training, and I didn't do a spring race. I did a marathon last year, but even leading up to that last year was a lot of just constant in the training cycle. And I started to feel the slip of, I'm not enjoying this. And this is very similar to what I just experienced with my career of, early in the summer, as I was looking for jobs, I would read a job description and I froze. I go, I can't do this. Nothing is clicking for me, until it took me about 8-9 weeks. And I don't have a magic thing on when to get out of it, but I kind of read a job description. I was like, oh, I can do this. I can do this now. But leading up to this 50K, you start to get I was battling a little plantar fasciitis, and that just, I'm hobbling around, and I'm like, this sucks. I'm losing the joy of this. And as my training partners, we kind of got to the point of, after going into the taper, we're like, can we just run this thing this week and get it over with? And I said to myself then, I was like, you know what, after this race, I am going to not run. I want to keep moving. I want to walk, but I don't want to look at a training plan. I don't want to look at even now, you talk about the post-race blues. My friends just signed up for a half marathon 3 weeks from now. I was like, I'll come cheer you on, suckers, but I'm not, I don't feel it. And that's where normally I'm sitting there going, yeah, I want to run another race. And I'm like, oh boy, here it comes. And luckily I've been able to see it. And, my friends are going to keep me honest and not pushing me to go out and run anymore. And we're having fun with that part. But yeah, it's been real of, and I'm probably in the best shape that I've been. But I'm like, I felt it slipping. And I was like, this is the one thing I got. This is the one thing that's kept me sane and kept me going, through personal issues and professional issues. And I was like, I don't want to lose this. So, it's tough though. It's like you lose that joy a bit, or it becomes a chore. And you look at that training plan, you're like, fuck, I got to do X amount of miles this weekend, and this, I want to do it. And I don't want to lose 100%. That. So it's tough.
I'll tell you the story for me, for one of the times I burned out, and it was 2019. I had been trying to get into Western states. And so every year you have to run a 100-miler to get your ticket. And the way I had been doing it at the time was I was racing a 100-miler in early to mid-February, and then I was doing an Ironman in late September, early October. And I did that for like 3 or 4 years, and it was absolutely awesome. No issues whatsoever. And so after I finished an Ironman, which was in October, I would take some time off. I would rest, relax. I would still run because I had a 100-miler coming up in February, but I was already fit. So I didn't need to really worry about that. Just need to stay where I was. Well, in December, they pull the lottery balls for Western States. And I had already registered for the 100 miler in February, and I was already registered for Ironman Wisconsin in late September. Well, I was fortunate enough that my name got pulled for Western States. And so now you stick a race right in the middle of the summer. So late
June,
end of June.
Yeah.
So 100 miler, Ironman, right? I do the first 100 miler and okay, cool. I do Western States. Okay, cool. And so now I got to get on a bike, and now I got to ride the bike for, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, 100 miles here, there, and everywhere. And John, it just became such a fucking burden. And I will.
You haven't even mentioned the swimming part yet.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I get on the massage table about a week before Ironman Wisconsin, maybe a little longer. And I said to the masseuse, who was a friend of mine at the time, I said, I can't wait for this shit to be over.
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you mean? I've never heard you say that before. I'm like, I've been going since January 1st, basically. Yeah. Like, I'm fucking tired.
Yeah.
And as we started getting into the water in Wisconsin, I could see like white caps on the lake, and like all of a sudden all the anxiety came in.
Was that in Madison?
Yeah, it's in Madison.
Yeah.
And so I swam 0.6 of a mile in about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Now it's a 2.4 mile swim, so that equates to 2 hours, right? If you're doing the math. Yeah. And I'm about a 1.5 hour, 1 hour and 20 minute Ironman swimmer. So we're talking 30, 40 minutes. And after 30 minutes, I did the math. I'm like, that's 2+ hours. And that's if I go this same pace.
Yeah.
I'm fucking done. And I DNF'd Ironman Wisconsin.
Wow.
I raised my hand.
Yeah.
They pulled me out of the water and I DNF'd it. 100% burnt out. I was in great physical shape.
Yeah.
I was in great physical shape. But mentally, I was fried. And I celebrated like you wouldn't believe when I got out of the water, because I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that is, I mean, it's the mental, because that was been the thing for me. It's like, it was just mentally, just a bunch of stressors outside of running and with it. And it just, if you can't get that mind going, and look, you could have pushed through and you probably would have felt more awful, like,
exactly,
versus thank God this is over and it's just a medal, or it's just, I mean, not just, I know it would have been a great accomplishment, but
sure.
And just to get past that, probably did you wonders for the rest of your running and swimming in that.
And here's the perspective on it, right? So I'm sitting on the dock after they pull us out, and they have to check you off the list, make sure safety protocols or whatever. And so I'm sitting on the dock, and there's a young lady sitting next to me, and she is bawling, tears everywhere. And I said to her, is this your first Ironman? And she said, yes, I've been training for however long at the time, I don't remember. And I consoled her. And internally, I was thinking to myself, dude, this is not that bad. This is your 9th start line. You've got 8 finishes. It's okay, right? Like, that perspective comes into play for me, seeing somebody else this was their first. And so it lessened the burden on me.
Sure. And
it's sort of why I want people to be open about their DNF, so that when somebody else goes through it, it lessens the burden on them too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. This shit is hard. And I think,
it's fucking hard, dude.
A 5K or a mile, it is hard. And then you put in life. You put in every day. I've got to work. I've got to, pay a mortgage or a rent or buy this. And you kind of put it in perspective. Like, I get to run. I get to swim. I get to race. I don't have to.
Right.
But it's that pressure of like, you lost money. What you lost was money.
Right. That's it.
You're 50, 100. Well, now they're getting a little more expensive, but at the end of it, you can line up again if you want to, or or not.
Yeah.
Maybe you discovered that. I get that a lot with people of like, man, I hate running. I go, don't run. Then seriously though, it's like, oh, I just hate it. I go, then walk. Ride a bike, go in the pool,
swim,
get on a Peloton. I was like, it's now some of it is You don't, because you equate it to, oh, I had to run the mile in high school or
Correct.
punishment. But
Punishment for sure. I played football and baseball, and
yeah,
it was,
absolutely.
you screwed up, go run.
Yeah, it was, but it's like, do something that you enjoy and can find joy in. Yeah, you might hate running because it's painful, and it's going to take you a long time to get in shape. I mean, your body takes a year or two just to adapt. But if you don't like it, fucking don't. I don't give.
Like exactly, you don't have to. But here's the thing about it, right? You're also not running to train yourself for the immediate today.
Yeah.
Right. You want to get healthy for a lifetime. And when you put it in that perspective, okay, so you ran a half mile, walked a half mile. Like I tell people this story all the time, and they'll be like, "Oh, you did Cocodona and you've run 100-milers," and I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." But do you know the story of my very first mile that I've ever run? And they're like, "No, tell me." And it was simply this: I went to the track at White Plains High School and I ran the first 400 meters I'd ever run, and I thought life was over. Like everything hurt. Right? Like my heart, breathing was heavy. So I walked a quarter mile, then I ran the next quarter mile, then I walked the last quarter mile. So I did 1 mile on my very first run with half of it running, half of it walking. No knowledge of anything, drinking, eating, just out there. Picked up my keys and walked home, right?
Yeah.
And that was my very first mile. And now, 18 years later, I've done a lot of shit. But we all have to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you're going to hate it. It's going to suck. It's going to be awful. Then you go out the next day, and instead of going from 1 mile to 10 miles, go from 1 mile to 1.1 miles.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Right?
It is a long, and I think that's where some of the, whether it's Strava, social, or whatever, people like the marathon this weekend, and with Chicago and New York, you're going to get so many people excited and want to sign up and run a spring marathon after never doing it before. I'm like, yes, I think it's great, and people are doing it, but I mean,
but there's no rush.
There is not like sign up for a 2027 marathon now, and then put in a 1 mile walk, and then do a turkey trot and walk that, and then yes, some people do it and they do it all the time. But I mean, if you really want to have that longevity, it's and that's what I'm thinking for next year. I was like, we're talking about cutting it back and doing like half marathons and 10Ks and 5Ks. I was like, I want to get back into a joy of running and doing some variety of things. I have no desire for a 50-miler or a 100-miler, especially not where I am now. I know I may in the future, but I was like, let me get back into some halves or some 10Ks or 5Ks and experience that joy there.
Yeah, we're doing the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse Run Club Tour next year.
Yep.
And we're going to the Oakland Marathon. I don't know if we're going to register to actually run the Oakland Marathon, but I do know that we're going to actually race the San Francisco Marathon. And the last time I actually raced a marathon that wasn't at the end of an Ironman was like 12 years ago, dude.
Really?
And maybe even longer.
Wow.
Yeah, and the only reason I am registered to do this marathon because I swore them off. I tried to qualify for Boston ages ago.
Yeah.
I absolutely hated the fucking training. I hated everything about the fucking training. And I ran like a 3:31, I think, and I needed like a 3:15. I was way off, dude.
Yeah.
And I've never been in so much pain. And I literally swore off the marathon after I crossed that finish line. I'm never fucking doing this again.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I'm doing this one is because Santino wants to break 4 hours at San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm on it. I'm with you. Like I will pace you to a 4-hour marathon. So, that's the only reason why I'm doing it. But it goes back to this idea, like change it up. Like I've spent so much time on the trails. I've spent so much time at the 50-mile distance, the 100-mile distance. Like go run a road marathon.
Yeah, that's great. That is great.
Why not?
That's what we're looking to do that a little bit. And I just was like, I need, the training will be just as intense.
Yes.
But it'll just be a different, work some different muscles. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that, to just dial it back. Now watch this shit. I'm going to be signed up for 3 marathons next year. And you're going to call me up like, you idiot. I've got receipts here. You said you weren't. I was like,
Well, when we release the Run Club tour, you might be changing your mind.
Yes, I want to, if there's anything close, I want to,
I don't know if it gets any closer than the two that we're thinking of are Indy Monumental and the Flying Pig. So it doesn't get any closer than that.
I love the Monumental. I've never done the marathon part. That was the one that we walked the half marathon, and I've run that before, but Flying Pig, I'd like it. That's I think Reynolds did that, didn't he?
Yes, he did that.
That's got some rolling hills. Indy Monumental, you'll have me because that's flat. And I got
we do hard things around these parts, buddy.
Well, that's hard for me. I've got family there too, so I got a place to stay, a comfortable bed. But those will be great. I'll look for both of them for sure.
Yeah, we're probably gonna make an announcement on that in a couple of weeks when we finalize the list. Oakland is on the list. San Francisco is on the list. We're gonna go do the Salt Lake City Foothills Trail Race that's put on by Josh Rosenthal in Borderlands. Yeah, and we have a discount for the Clubhouse members. And then we've also talked about doing the Wild West Relay that's put on by Run Windsor out in Colorado too. And so those are on the list. And then it's either Indy Monumental or Flying Pig because they're on the same weekend or one weekend apart.
They're close,
next year. Yeah.
Oh, really? Because it's Flying Pig, because the Monumental is usually like that November, either right after New York or close to it, isn't it?
Maybe I got the wrong one then. I'll tell you what I was looking at then so I can look on our list here. So Run Club Tour. So I have, I'm sorry, not Monumental, Indy Mini.
Oh, yes. That's the one I told you my heart almost exploded from caffeine. Yeah, you go around the Indy 500. That's awesome. That's in May.
That's on May 2nd. Yeah. And then the Flying Pig is also that same weekend too. So
seeing those are half marathons and I don't have to run a marathon on those. So keep me on my,
I love it.
Keep me on my streak. So no, those are great. I'm
All
looking forward to hearing those. All right, man.
I appreciate your time. I'm not letting you go that fast. We're bumping up. Oh boy. We have to end with some food conversations.
Okay.
And I know you're the pancake king. So we're not going to go down. I'm not going to go down pancake road.
Good.
So here's what I want to know out of the gate. Oreos.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Oreos, do you have a preference on the OG, the double stuff, the thin, or the Cakester?
Thin is out. I won't even buy it. I won't.
You don't want Oreo crackers?
I'm like, no. I look at it on the shelf, but I won't buy that. And the Cakesters, you know what? I'll have to admit, I don't know if I've had how long it's been since a Cakester.
It's a devil dog, dude. It's all it is.
Okay, is that what it is? Yeah, yes. So the OG I like. So there's the double stuff, and then there's that freaking mega stuff.
The mega.
I don't like them. That's just too much. But I would. I mean, I had 4 OGs today after giving blood, so. That's a one bite. That's a one bite and a glass of sip of milk with the OG.
All right, so you opened up another can, but I will tell you if you want to try the thins, get the tiramisu ones because they do taste just like tiramisu.
Okay,
and so you don't really recognize that they're even like paper.
Yeah.
Paper thin. You say one bite, so are you a dunker and then you're throwing the whole cookie in your mouth?
No, I've been told I chew my milk. So I put the cookie in and it mixes in the mouth and I take the drink and then I chew.
Okay.
Yeah. So I take the whole, I used to dunk, but I was like, no, I need more liquid. So I'll put the whole thing in, take a drink of milk and then just, it's not pretty, but and repeat like maybe 8 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we're doing anything repeatable, this is the one.
Those are the hill repeats that I'm for. Like row repeats on that. I don't like the packaging. I really don't like this.
You don't like the peel?
I like it, but those 4 corners, they get
yes.
I'm like, dude, wait, I need a full a full peel of the top,
Yes.
like a moon roof versus this, those,
Moonroof.
yeah, but those four corners are but it's also nice. It's kind of like back in the day when you'd find a 5 spot in your pocket after going out. You're like, oh, there's an Oreo left.
Mondelez, stop with this
I don't,
packaging. You
and
gotta go
even
full boat.
the ones when you pull out are terrible too, because you
Yes.
never go back
You can't get it back in.
No, but it's that whatever. And sometimes if you F up the seal and break it, then it doesn't. Then you got to get a goddamn Ziploc bag and put it in there. But yeah, that's my only gripe of them, or that peel back is just like, oh, this is not good. Because even it's tough. You can't get started because they're packed in there, and you kind of gotta. They don't leave. I appreciate them packing them full, but getting that starter one out is a tough one too, because you might break a corner, you might do that. But yeah,
preaching to the choir, brother. Yeah. Like now, I need a fucking Oreo tweezer. Come on, Mondelez.
And what's those little bamboo things that you get a coffee filter out of, that you grab for a coffee? You need that for my Oreos. So,
dude, do we know any engineers in our clubhouse? Because
doesn't Joe have a 3D printer?
Yeah, we're gonna get him to design clippers, and we'll call him something that Oreo can't be like, stop producing them, and we're gonna sell the shit out of them.
Oh my god, yeah. I hope if he's still on, tell him to fire up that printer.
I know how to text him. Don't worry, we're good.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll send him some prototypes here. But oh god, that's great. That is great.
We could talk Oreos all day, man. I love it. All right. Favorite chocolate candy is?
Man. Just plain chocolate or anything in it?
However you want. It just has to be a chocolate candy.
I love chocolate. I am not a frou-frou. Occasionally I'll get those. Is it Vosage or whatever? The $50 for a dozen. I'm like, no, just I like M&Ms. I mean, in plain peanut. Like this, I was road tripping this past weekend and just grabbed a big bag of plain M&Ms. And I know it's probably terrible chocolate, but don't gatekeep my chocolate either. You know what?
Don't gatekeep my chocolate either, dude. I will fight people. I'm eating the M&Ms.
But I like the peanuts, but I also like, I've dabbled in, similar to the Oreo. They got some variations, but I do like either plain or peanut M&Ms, or good chocolate. But I think then if I could get into candy bars, and that's just a whole other avenue. But around whenever they come out, the Cadbury, and I just totally missed it. The Cadbury mini eggs.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Just that hard shell. You could do lipstick with it if you want. But that hard shell, the Cadbury mini, I back and folds it. So yeah, but those are only the seasonal thing.
I want to give a special shout out to Renee Papillon Toujours, who joined us on Instagram. And I don't know if you saw me comment to her on Threads. She posted a picture finishing the Chicago Marathon this past weekend, and I was in a shit mood. And that was one of the first things when I opened up Threads was her post, and her smile went from ear to ear, and it absolutely changed my mood. So
congrats, Renee. Congrats. And I hope she got to stay in the city a couple of days. So
so it was perfect. And Mary, who just joined the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse from Canada, we have an international clubhouse, by the way. Have I told you this?
I'm not surprised.
We have numerous people in Canada. We have at least one in Australia, maybe two now.
Okay.
I think, and we've got a number of people out of the UK. Like, we are an international club, baby.
Get your shipping rates going here.
That's why for the coffee gift box, you got to contact me, people. That box is going to be heavy.
We might ask them to split the cost with you on that one. Give them a discount on something else. So we'll
make it work. Contact me before purchasing, please. All All right. So a couple of more food questions. What are you putting inside of your burrito? What's going to be the ultimate burrito for you?
Oh boy. So if I start with protein, and I know you're vegetarian, so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm going primarily a steak or a steak variation, carne asada.
Yep.
I like rice. A lot of people go black beans, but I like a pinto or a refried bean in my burrito. And I know it's sometimes I like a dab of sour cream. I don't want it to dominate my burrito, but also obviously the lettuce. And I do like a verde, and then I used to go super spicy, but similar to the caffeine after 2:00, the heat and spice doesn't always agree with me later, but it's got to
So
have.
you're not having a burrito and washing it down with coffee.
No.
Is what you're saying.
Not enough plumbing to take care of that. But yeah, I like a good bit of heat, but probably either a steak or I love a chorizo. If you go a steak and chorizo together, is fantastic for the protein side.
Have you ever gone California where they put the French fries?
Yes. So there's a little hole in the wall place here, and they have that, and I was like, what is this? And
it's heavenly.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, because it's different.
Utopia.
It's got a crunch to it.
Yep.
But yeah, I like a sloppy burrito.
Yeah.
And
this just reminded me, I interviewed I was interviewed on Endurance Diaries by Ashley Leishevich.
Yeah.
And she's from Pittsburgh, and we got into talking about food because look, if you're talking to me, we're going to talk food at some point. And she was telling me about Primanti Brothers and how they put French fries into the sandwiches.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, living in SoCal, burritos now. French fries are in there, baby.
And that's a staple there, huh? The French fries in the burrito. Yeah.
It's so good, dude.
Yeah. I mean, you can wrap anything up for me in a tortilla, and I'll give it a shot.
So let's wrap up this show.
Yeah.
Here's the
no pun intended with your.
And no.
Yeah.
Last food question.
Yeah.
A tray of brownies has come out of the oven. It's been sitting on the counter long enough to cool down. So is John Hudson going corner, edge, or middle ooey gooey?
First bite, first piece. I'm because I'm going to be there a while.
Yeah, same here. The first piece.
I think I go corner edge, so maybe it's more of a rectangle from the corner.
Taking a big piece, I like it.
I mean, come on, it's because then that gives me just enough space for the second one to get the middle ooey gooey. So I'll go kind of bottom left rectangle. That would technically be like 2. So it's like the corner and an edge. But then if you think Tetris, then it gives me the opening to get an ooey gooey middle. So yeah,
the science that goes behind the cutting of brownies on this show is unparalleled. There's no match.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but that's probably where I would start. Because I like a little bit of the crispy or the. Yeah. I love an ooey gooey, but just to get to it's a pain in the ass. So I got to make room for it. And
see, I need the edge because I need the handle or the corner. Yeah. I need a handle, and I'm like one of those people like. As soon as something gets on my fingers, like I'm like, where are the napkins? Like I don't like shit on my hands.
Same. Yeah.
And I need so like the ooey gooey and like Sicilian slices in New York City, like don't cut me the fucking middle, dude.
No.
I'll just take the regular slice at that point.
Yeah.
I'm not
you save the ooey gooey for a bowl of ice cream. So that way you avoid all the stuff on your fingers. You just scoop it out and throw it in your ice cream thing. But you keep the corner one for your hands to grab, but you
hold and chew.
But
all right. So you mentioned ice cream. Yeah. What is your favorite ice cream to go with a brownie?
Oh, with a brownie.
Yeah.
Because like my favorite, I love mint chocolate chip. That's just my.
But with a brownie, where does it go now?
See, that's where I'm probably thinking, like a good, just plain vanilla.
Good choice.
Because
Wrong,
I don't
but good choice.
wrong. But I could do a cappuccino. I could do sort of a mocha or coffee type flavor, but you can't put. That's why I couldn't do mint chocolate chip, because you can't put the chip with the brownie, so it'd have to be a plain. So I'd probably go with like a mocha or cappuccino type
Yep.
flavor with that.
It's 100%. That's the right answer.
Yeah.
That is 100% the right
Yeah,
answer.
because I don't
And
want mint ice cream.
No.
No, I say that for my
No.
Oreos, but like mint chocolate
Yes.
chip. But if I put in a brownie, yeah, I could see that mocha type would be good. So
Yeah.
so I passed.
You did.
Yeah.
Dude, this has been a blast.
I love
It's been
it.
great catching up with you. I appreciate your support for Run Try
Oh,
Bike
man.
and the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse. It's you have no idea what it means to me.
Yeah, I tell you all the time what you're building here and what you all are building. It's for me the past 2.5 years of. It's probably the reason I stay on Threads is it's for you all. But this is fantastic, and anything I can do, anything you need, don't hesitate to reach out.
I appreciate it. Thanks, John.
All right,
I'll talk to you soon.
Have a great one.
For those of you that stuck around for the entire hour plus, thank you so much. Time is the greatest gift that we can give to each other, and you have given me and John the gift of your time. So thank you very much. Don't forget, subscribe, rate, review on Spotify, comment, and share with your friends. We have so many great shows on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. I'm sure that you'll find one of them, if not all of them, entertaining. I'll see you next week on the next Fireside Chat.